so maybe you can fall asleep to it. If you enjoy this combination of sounds, please subscribe and like this video. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and I think we can totally do that. And let me tell you, there's only a few other things in life that I would wake up at 7 a.m. for, and this is one of them. So these are really relaxing to make. I hope you like him as much as I do. Now let me tell you about the case that I have for tonight. It is written on DailyMail.com, and it is titled Slain Mississippi Nursing Student Lauren Johansen's former fiancé reveals he found her accused killer, ex-Bryson Rivers, hiding under her bed after she returned home from a trip. Now, before we get any further, I'm gonna have to tell you, this one's really gruesome, and we totally have talked about other gruesome stuff on this channel, but this one's exceptionally brutal. This article is uploaded on July 19, 2024. Lauren Johansen's grieving ex-fiancé has told DailyMail.com how the Mississippi nursing student was stalked and terrorized by the gun-toting coward now awaiting trial for her murder. Bryson Rivers, 23, spent 7 months behind bars on domestic violence charges for beating Lauren to a pulp, but walked free when a Democrat judge agreed to slash his bond. 9 days later, he hunted down the petite blonde to finish the job, caving in her skull and mutilating her body before being arrested and taken back into custody. The slain beauty's grieving loved ones include former fiancé Nick Bell, 24, who blames her death on the justice system's total failure to protect her. I mean, they didn't even have to protect her, they just had to keep him in jail. It's crazy. I'm gonna show you the pictures of what this man did to her before murdering her 7 months before. And he says of a Rivers now locked up in Harrison County, Mississippi on a $1 million bond. What a cruel, disgusting human being he is. He continues to say about him, he is the most selfish individual imaginable. Everyone she loved, he tormented and tried to rip her away from her. Army aviation aviation veteran Nick fell in love with Lauren after she turned to him for protection, splitting from Rivers, her high school sweetheart, in April 2023. Lauren was studying to become a nurse at the University of Southern Mississippi in Hattiesburg, where she lived next door to Nick, who was coincidentally training to become a nurse after 3 years in the military. Nick told, quote, "She came back from a trip and asked me to check if the house was safe. That's when I found him hiding underneath the bed. He had wedged or nailed the doors shut with the idea that once she got in there she would have no way to get out. This stuff is so nightmarish. It's so crazy to live with that type of fear. But I can't wait to tell you that she still left her fiancé to go back to this man who is hiding under her bed, and she'd made the door in a way that she'd be stuck in the house. She still left her fiancé for it. It's so terrifying." Nick continued, quote, "I reached for my firearm and I gave him 30 seconds to leave the premises. He was gone by 19, end quote. As Nick and Lauren grew closer, jealous Rivers, who had previous arrests for drug possession, auto burglary, and DIU, continued to plague their lives. Nick went on, quote, "Lauren told me stories about how he had beaten and stalked her. I was never going to stand for that. I'm sure he later wished he would have shot him. Right then, right? Is that self-defense if you come into your house and you find someone under your bed and the door is messed with? Is it self-defense, or since they are no threat in the moment, like, do they have to kill you before you can kill them?" Nick continued, "He was a coward, and there was no way he would step to me. But he would come back at night time and watch us through the windows or follow us around." Nick said Lauren had called the police on him many times in the past. "We had to get cameras. There was never a moment of peace for the first couple of months." Nick and Lauren went on vacation to Miami last August, hoping to finally turn the page and escape from Rivers. Nick dropped to one knee and proposed during a stroll on the beach. She's only 22 years old, but her romantic life seems to be so chaotic. She's getting stalked by her high school sweetheart who's trying to murder her. She's getting proposed on a beach by her neighbor that she's met for how many years? It doesn't say, but I think it's like about a year. Nick said about Lauren, quote, "Lauren was like a girl from a fairy tale, beautiful from head to toe, from the way she smiled to the way she talked and carried herself. Asked her if she would be my wife, my life partner, and my..." The engagement lasted several months, however. Lauren suddenly broke things off in October, and Nick discovered that she had rekindled her relationship with Rivers. He put it down to the years of domestic abuse and emotional manipulation she suffered at his hands. I wonder if at that point she either subconsciously or consciously thought that he was going to kill her, and that's why going back to him was the only option. Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe at that point in her life she was so, as Nick said, emotionally manipulated that he actually thought that this meant real love, and the fact that he was hiding under her bed was a sign that they were like meant to be together, and she could help him change and be a better person by being with him. I'm not sure. Unfortunately, Lauren isn't here anymore to tell us her feelings, her emotions. Nick continues to say that Bryson was her first true boyfriend and had taken advantage of her and her family for so long that he knew how to get to her. Oh no, I hear my nephew's voice coming up the stairs. It's not fair. It's too soon in the morning for anything to be going on. I'll see how the sounds go, and I'll keep recording, but you won't feel a difference. Alright, if you hear a child in the background, that's what it is. Nick continues to say, a good bit of my things were still at her house, and when I went back to check on her, he jumped out of a closet and aimed a gun at my forehead. I grabbed the weapon, turned it on him, then disassembled it. I told him there would be no issue and that I'd be leaving. I left the gun disassembled in the middle of the floor. End quote. I bet this man thinks every day he wish he had shot him. Nick's fears for Lauren came true in this adjust her bra and panties after he allegedly held her captive in their rental car. While Rivers was held on a $250,000 bail on aggravated kidnap charges, Lauren was able to undergo therapy and tentatively rebuild her relationship with Nick. Her surgeon dad, Lauren Johansen, gave evidence at a preliminary hearing, warning Davidson County Judge Cheryl Blackburn that Rivers would kill his daughter unless she kept him locked up. I'm gonna put a couple of photos from the injuries that it caused her. If you don't wanna see him, look away for about 5 seconds. After her father pled with the judge to not let him out, Judge Blackburn paved the way for Rivers to bond out of jail when she issued an order lowering his bail from $250,000 to $150,000. The suspect was barred from leaving the Nashville area, but court clerks have admitted they didn't share those instructions with jail officials who let him walk free on June 24 without a GPS tag. Every mistake that could have been made in this case for this girl to die was made. Local firm Brooks Bail Bonding fitted Rivers with a device later that day, but Freedom Monitoring, the company responsible for keeping tabs on him, says it was only supplied with a copy of the judge's instructions 4 days later. It wasn't until July 2nd that a hearing was hastily convened to figure out what had happened, and by then it was too late. Lauren was reported missing that morning, and a day later was found beaten to death and wrapped in sheets and garbage bags in the back of her car at a remote cemetery in Gulfport. She had suffered multiple skull fractures, and her underwear was pulled down around her ankles. Rivers was spotted running from the scene, but taken into custody after a 9-hour manhunt and charged with murder. Judge Blackburn has not commented publicly on her decision to lower his bond. They kept calling and asking for her comment, and an assistant snapped at them and said, "It's a no comment. The office as a whole has no comment." They really have no right to get mad when they failed to do their job and someone was murdered because of it. not without an ankle bracelet. I have no idea what is. First of all, I don't think there should be any bail. If someone's making threats that they're going to kill someone, they attempt it, they get caught and they're bailed out and they can just go right back to finishing their job. And that is exactly what happened. But they have no comment, and what would they say? They can't say anything. A veteran jurist in her mid-70s, Judge Blackburn, has been on the Music City bench since 1996. She was expected to retire in 2021 after suffering a stroke, but surprisingly decided to stay on and won re-election a year later. Who knows, maybe if she did retire and let go of that freaking chair, she would still be alive. A report in the Nashville Banner suggests the judge stumbled over her words, mixed up names, and even fell asleep several times during a recent trial amid concerns over her competency. An unnamed defense attorney reportedly likened her performance to that of Joe Biden in the presidential debate. Bill Heap dropped out this morning. Stephen Hayslip, Director of Communications for Davidson County District Attorney. They told the news that it contested the reduced bond but didn't make the judge aware of any of Rivers' prior arrest. This is making me so angry. Like, this is their job and they're failing left and right. And you know what? God knows how many times a day they do this. But thank God that not as many of these offenders go out and kill people. But when they do, we hear about the things they forgot to do. Nick is among those who say Lauren would still be alive if the judge had simply kept Rivers under lock until trial. Yeah, of course, who would have killed her if this man was still in jail? There's no other threat than him to her. He continued, I know how bonds work. I know they are not designed to hold someone in place forever. But when someone hurts another person to that degree, they do not deserve a second chance. Yeah, I thought bonds were for people. Let me say that again. I thought bonds were for non-violent criminals. But it seems that I was wrong. Or maybe the judge was wrong, since everyone's mad at her now. Nick says if Rivers is found guilty of murdering Lauren, he doesn't want to see him get the death penalty. He explained, I don't want him to die. I want him to suffer every day. Lauren was kind, intelligent, and outlandishly miraculous in every way, shape, or form. There is no other way to describe it. I want him to regret killing her for the rest of his life. I mean, does he though? Does he regret it? Do you think him living somewhere with food every day for the rest of his life is going to make any difference in the fact that he brutally beat Lauren and then went back has no regret. He's probably happy that he was able to do it and he got the chance. And I personally don't want him dead. I hope he gets the death penalty. It's in Tennessee. I wonder if they might have. That's why they mentioned it. There is no rehabilitating this person. And this sentence that he said, I want him to regret killing her for the rest of his life. That's not how it works. He does not feel any remorse, or he wouldn't have done it. He needs to be put to death because of what he did. Because it doesn't matter about his feelings or our feelings. What matters is the right move. If someone kills another person, not by accident, not by pure rage, just methodically planning it over years of how to finally get this woman alone so she can kill her for any reason. He needs to die, right? That is the end of this article. And I'm going to go on her Instagram because I feel like this picture that they put in this article is from an Instagram page. Her name was Lauren Johansen. Here it is. This is it. Now something interesting that I was thinking about was that everyone keeps mentioning in this article that she was a nursing student. And I don't see it. I mean, was that just something that her surgeon father thought that she was going to do, that she was gonna get ready to study nursing, or was she actually in university for nursing? Because I don't see it anywhere, and I don't know what would a nursing student look like or would post. But definitely not this, not whatever this is. But I might be wrong. So let's just go through these. The last one is from April 26. And there are no pictures of any of this man on this page. It's just all about her and her girlfriends hanging about. What is this picture? I hope that last pic shocks you as much as it did me. What is the last pic? Yeah. Weird. Now see what I mean. Does she look like a nursing student to you? I don't know. I'm not here to judge the victim. I'm here to judge everyone. Let's see if we can find, what was his name? Bryson Rivers, the murderer. I don't think any of this is from him. Definitely, you don't think a man like him who spent all his time stalking, hiding under beds, kidnapping people and beating them up, and getting will let you know what he gets. Can you imagine how horrified she must have been for the last year of her life? Thinking that someone that you think you love and that they think they're so in love with you that at any moment they could appear out of nowhere and, take revenge on you for what? Leaving them for another person. But that certainly weren't their issues. You see a lot of these couples, none of them pay any attention to any of the red flags. The families don't either, but in this case his father was really adamant that the judge needs to give him in or he's going to kill his daughter, and that is what happened. So even in the cases that we see the red flags and we ask for the help, there is still no one there to help us. Now, I think after getting attacked that brutally, she should have had a gun with her, and maybe the story would have had an happy ending. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as you could, and that you may be sleeping